Now let's try long division, but with polynomials. Again, we have a divisor, x minus 2 in this case, and we have a dividend, 6x cubed plus 9x squared. Now the first somewhat tricky part, you've got to remember, we must account for all possible degrees of x. And so I'm missing, it appears, missing the x term. But I'll put an x term in, only I'll put it in with a 0 coefficient. That way I don't add anything. And then just finish off with the plus 4. That 0x is important, though. It must be there as a placeholder, or we will lose track of the information we're trying to find here when we divide. So let's find our quotient, but let's just apply the rules of long division that we saw for a numeric example. Let's ask ourselves, what do I multiply my divisor by to get the first term of my dividend? But let me just look at the first term of my divisor. What would I need to multiply to x in order to get 6x cubed? Well, I think it won't take you long to see that that's 6x squared. And I'm going to put that term, 6x squared, above the other squared term in my dividend. So just keep things lined up and keep things in order. It'll help us stay organized. It'll help us make fewer mistakes. Now, don't forget now the next step, which is multiply back 6x squared times x, 6x cubed, just as we hoped and predicted. 6x squared times negative 2 minus 12x squared. And as with long division numeric, we always subtract. I'm going to write SUBT rather. I don't want to write just a subtract symbol. It sometimes confuses me. Well, here we go. Let's subtract. Bring this down. 6x cubed minus 6x cubed. Just as we hope, they eliminate. 9x squared subtract negative 12x squared. Subtract negative is going to turn into an add, and I'll get 21x squared. 9x squared subtract negative 12. Okay. Bring down the next term, that 0x that we had placed there, and start the process again. Ask yourself, what do I multiply x by to get 21x squared? Well, I think 21x is pretty obviously the answer. All of my x's, you can see, are in a column together. I'll put the 21x above them. And multiply back. Multiplying back, I get the 21x squared I'm seeking minus 42x. I'm going to subtract again. Remind myself of that here. Subtracting eliminates 21x squared, and 0 subtract negative 42. I add again, and I get a 42x. Bring down the plus 4. And one more time should do the trick. What does x need to multiply by to become 42x? I think just 42. Lining that up with my numbers in that same column. Multiplying back, 42x minus 84. Minus. Make a bit of space here. Make sure I subtract again. Those 42 x's are eliminated. Subtract 4, subtract negative 84, adds together to 88. That is our remainder. The quotient, the answer up here. Quotient, 6x squared plus 21x plus 42. This is what it means. My original dividend, 6x, oh, so I'll even go to the original question. My original question right here. Let me just copy that. We'll paste it down here. The answer to 6x cubed plus 9x squared plus 4 divided by x minus 2 is, check our quotient up there, 6x squared plus 21x plus 42, I think that's correct, plus the remainder, 88, still to be divided by x minus 2. Or another way to write this is 6x cubed plus 9x squared plus 4 equals 6x squared plus 21x plus 42 times x minus 2 plus 88. And you can expand this out just to make sure that that's all true. And I urge you to do that, to check long division for polynomials does work.